Hey guys, so Dr. Kelly Creamer here with Creamer Physical Therapy. I am so excited. We have our toddler play group coming up where we are going to be focusing on the sensory system and what we can do for our kids to help their sensory systems develop and to give them all the input that they need and to be able to regulate well in our environment. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on the sensory system and what our goals are for the upcoming play group that we have, because I honestly feel like the word sensory or sensory system is kind of like taboo in our current culture. I feel like it has a negative connotation to it, and if anybody brings the word sensory up, you automatically, at least I feel like, people go down the road of like ADD, ADHD, autism spectrum disorders, like all that kind of stuff. And I want to be very clear that that is not the case. So every person in the world has a sensory system. What our sensory system is our ability to take input from the world, take it into ourselves, deal with it, and respond to it. So everybody has a sensory system. If you have senses, then you have a sensory system. So it's our ability to intake light and sight and sounds and textures and tastes and movement and all that kind of stuff. So we need to be able to teach our bodies how to take in all of those things, organize it within ourselves, and then respond appropriately in the world. So don't get intimidated by the thought of sensory system stuff, because it's all fun stuff. It's all stuff that we have. And so if anybody brings that word up to you ever, that's what that means. So don't get too bogged down on what it could mean or anything like that, because everybody has a sensory system. It's a very normal thing to have, and you want to have a sensory system because you want to be able to experience those things in our world. So I have my notes over here, so I'm kind of glancing over to the side, so I apologize about that. Okay, so the other things we want to think about. So in babies, think about how much they get, right? All of the input that they're given. And so it can be easy for young children and babies and toddlers to become overwhelmed from the amount of input that they receive. So everything from noises to people to toys and lights and sounds and all that stuff can be overwhelming. So we want to help those babies be able to take it in and regulate it. But what's also great about this upcoming play group is that we are going to be able to pay attention to our children and see where they are in their sensory system so that we can pick up those signs of like, that's too much for them, we need to tone it down a little bit. So that's really where it's going to be really fun at this play group. We want to give our children lots of different and regulated exposures to different sensory systems. So different movements, different sensations, all that stuff is going to increase their tolerance to sensory systems. So we want to expose them to all those sounds and textures and temperature changes and pressure changes, lighting, taste, smells, all that stuff. Okay, so the other thing that people think about, oops, am I still there? I hope so. I just got a notification. So the other thing that we want to think about with sensory systems is I feel like a lot of times people think of like playing with their hands in sensory. So you have like the sensory bins where you're in sand and beans and rice and all that stuff. And I love that, but it really is only input to the hands. So we're going to really focus on the whole body sensory system. So we're going to be looking at pressure changes in our body. We're going to be I may try to get some like lighting changes or music changes if we can incorporate that into the day. But one of the best things I'm so excited about is that we're going to be doing a craft this weekend where we paint the bottom of our children's feet and put it on canvas. And so that's going to be like a take-home craft that you get to do. And I'm going to try to help parents be able to do that with their children. It's going to be important that we stay pretty clean because this is a space that I rent and we don't want to ruin anything with paint. So we're going to have to be careful, but I'm really excited. I think we're going to be able to do it. Okay, the other things we're going to work on weighted work, and that's a really fun activity for kids to be able to do. We're going to work on pushing and pulling because that gives us body like spatial awareness, and that helps kids regulate and know where their body is in space. So that is going to be really fun to see kids pushing and pulling and what that does to them. Sometimes kids, after they work in that weighted heavy work, they do much better with like balance and physical challenges and that kind of stuff because they really are aware of where they are and what their body is doing. But something I want to alert everybody to. So we talked about this is going to be fun because we're going to be able to really learn a lot about our kids and what senses they like and what things they might not and might need a little bit more regulated exposure to. But I want everybody to be careful. During this exercise and during this class, it is okay if your child is a little bit standoffish and a little bit more of a passive observer. That's totally fine. I am not of the nature of like we have to push them into uncomfortable situations. I'm fine if kids want to take a step back and watch. I think it's important for parents to engage in the activity and show their child that they're having fun, that it's an okay and a safe place to experiment and to try new things. So we want that to reflect in our day of play. So if your child is standing back and not wanting to engage in a certain activity, maybe they don't want to get their feet painted, or maybe they don't want to put their hands in a bin, or maybe they don't want to push and pull that weighted thing, or whatever it is, we are going to let them do that and give them time to warm up to the ideas. So we don't want to overwhelm your child with their sensory system. So we're going to have lots of different stations that have different things to work on, similar to what our gross motor day looks like. And so it might be a little sensory overwhelming for them, and that's fine. Let them take their time. Don't push them into anything. If they need breaks, that's fine. We can walk up and down the hallway to get out of the room and that sort of thing. All of that is totally fine. So just be aware and watch your child's signals. We're going to try to pay attention to what they're telling us and respond to that rather than just worrying about trying to get things accomplished in the day. So they're going to tell us things. They're going to show us signs of if they're ready or not, and we're going to respond appropriately. And if that moves slowly through the things, then that's fine. Don't put any pressure on it. So what I'm kind of planning for the day, so we talked about we're going to paint, so that's going to give us some different sensation to our feet. We are going to do heavy working. We're going to work with the big therapy balls. I'm going to show you guys a way that we can play on the ball where they're getting a lot of movement with the ball. But the other thing I really like is we're going to have kids lay down and we're going to roll those big therapy balls over them and back down. And that gives the kids a lot of sensory input, a lot of weighted pressure that helps them with that body awareness. It wakes up their sensory system, lets them know where their body is in space and that sort of thing. So that's really a fun activity to do. I don't know that we're going to get any water or sand or rice play, but those are great options for you all to try at home. I like to go to the dollar store or like Big Lots or Target or Walmart and get one of the Tupperware tubs, like a good size one, and fill it with beans or rice or sand if you have that, and then put little toys inside of it and let kids dig around in them with their hands and with their feet to try to find those little things. I don't plan on bringing that to class only because we're already going to be painting and I don't want to make too big of a mess, and I'm nervous because it's our first time ever trying this, so I don't want to I'm worried that Jessica's going to come in and be like, what's happening? So we're not going to do it this weekend, but if you guys want to try that at home, I'm happy to give you links to different ideas of things to do that with. So anyway, those are the things that I'm excited about, and you can look forward to this weekend. If anybody has any questions or concerns, always reach out to me. And again, everybody has signed those photo releases, so I would love people taking pictures of their kids playing this weekend, and if you could share those with me either through social media or if you text them or email them to me, I would love to see what's going on and possibly share those myself. So I really appreciate it, guys. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and I am looking forward to seeing you this weekend. Bye.